Okay, today I wanted to walk through a sample rhetorical analysis prompt. This one is from 2002, so it's kind of a classic, but I think it's really good because it has easy rhetorical strategies to pick out, and it's a pretty easy purpose to identify. So the first thing I would do is read the prompt. In his second inaugural address, given 1 month before the end of the Civil War, United States President Abraham Lincoln surprised his audience, which expected a lengthy speech on politics, slavery, and states' rights, with a short speech in which he contemplated the effects of the Civil War and offered his vision for the future of the nation. Read the address carefully, then write an essay in which you analyze the rhetorical strategies President Lincoln used to achieve his purpose. So key here is analyze rhetorical strategies. Rhetorical strategies, as we talked about, is basically anything and everything. Diction, syntax, tropes, even argument. To achieve his purpose, so you want to link everything back to what is his purpose as the president, winding down the Civil War, and then you want to support your analysis with specific references to the text. So first thing I would do is read through it quickly. At the second appearing to take the oath of the presidential office, there is less occasion for an extended address than there was at the first. Then a statement somewhat in detail of a course to be pursued seemed fitting and proper. Now, at the expiration of 4 years, during which public declarations have been constantly called forth on every point and phase of the great contest, which still absorbs the attention and engrosses the energies of the nation, little that is new would be presented. So this great contest idea is certainly a euphemism for the Civil War and metonymy. And you can talk about how he's trying to be euphemistic. That's part of his purpose. And then you read through it, and I won't read it aloud for you, but I would maybe pause the video here and give you a minute to read through it quickly. And then you'll see that he tries to use a lot of different strategies, especially in his balancing act of not necessarily here at the end of the war. That's the rhetorical situation, is it that the war is virtually won by the North at this point, and now he needs to bring closure and healing. But he does so through three predominant strategies, okay, that I would pick out, and then I would maybe type them up. Okay, so if you go to, let's see here, Google, go back to my Google here, and my three predominant strategies are balanced sentences, got to wake up my fingers to type, biblical allusions, and what else stands out? There's so many strategies. Shared beliefs, that also ties with the biblical allusions, because he's really trying to show that both the North and the South read the same Bible, they pray to the same God, and yet they are completely opposite sides of the issue. Okay, so. And then as I think about his purpose, his real purpose, or tone, purpose, effect, is to heal a wounded nation and move forward positively. Okay, so that's what he's trying to do. So if you go back to it, and if you don't know what I mean, I'll highlight some of these strategies. All dreaded it, all sought to avert it. That's anaphora, and it's balanced. Both sides dreaded the war. Both sides wanted to avoid the war. Both parties deprecated war, but one of them would make war rather than let the nation survive, and the other would accept war rather than let it perish. And the war came. So you could also talk about the strategy of pathos, okay? And he does concede. There's about 16 rhetorical strategies you could talk about, but I'm trying to pick out 3 for my thesis. But you could tie the concessions to the biblical allusions. You could tie the concessions to the shared beliefs. And you can tie the syntax to the shared beliefs. He gives statistics here. He gives isocolon here to strengthen, perpetuate, and extend this interest. And again, that's when you want to plug in my formula. Okay, remember the formula for your body. My formula is rhetorical choice. In order to, effective verb, TPE. So add those things together. I talk about that quite a bit. Okay, so then we go up to the next column. Neither party expected for the war the magnitude or the duration with which it was already attained. So that's a concession, and then he starts the next sentence with neither. So that's anaphora of neither. Neither anticipated that the cause of the conflict might cease with, or even before the conflict itself should cease. Each looked for an easier triumph and a result less fundamental and astounding. Both read the same Bible and prayed to the same God, and each invoked his aid, capitalized, so he's talking about God, against the other. So he's alluding to God, he's alluding to the Bible, he's alluding to how they are both sides praying for victory. So that might be a good idea for a hook. So if I go back here, I can go hook. Lord, grant us victory. And then you could talk about each side, each general, whether north or south, must have prayed this prayer. And then transition to your thesis, how he's trying to use these strategies that we talk about in this list to heal the wounded nation and move positively forward. Okay. So we continue on, and I'm not going to read every word, like I said. So this is my second reading where I'm looking at pulling out strategies. He's got wringing their bread from the sweat of other men's faces, but let us judge that we be not judged. That's a direct allusion to the Bible. Quote, the prayers of both could not be answered, so it was inevitable. The Almighty has his own purposes. Again, he's capitalizing. So, woe to under the world because of offenses. And he quotes the Bible directly. So lots of shared beliefs as a Christian nation in the 1800s. Lots of sentimental appeal, some imagery toward the end. And then you want to pace yourself because this is a longer one. You're having to turn the page, and there's another page here. With malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right, as God gives us to see the right. Let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds. And then he talks about orphans and widows, and that's a sentimental appeal and a call to action as he tries to bring the nation to heal itself and to now move forward and take care of widows from both sides and orphans from both sides and heal the metaphorical wounds of the nations, just as the soldiers are healing their wounds. So you want to get as much as you can, and you can organize it however you want. You could organize it by syntax, a paragraph, and then allusions, a paragraph, and then shared beliefs, a paragraph, or you could do more of a point-by-point analysis as you go through and shift when Lincoln shifts. Each can earn you a 5 or 6, and that's the goal. You want that 1 point for the thesis. Okay, and here's a mock-up, a draft, an outline of our thesis. You want to try to go for the sophistication point. So I would try to be creative with your hook and then revisit that hook, because ultimately it's the North's prayers that were answered. I hope this helps. And the Lincoln speech is a great example, because even though it's a little bit older, 2002, the College Board has been using a lot of speeches lately, and they have tropes and they have syntax, and if you know those things and you can pull them out and then you use your own trope, use your own sophisticated parallel syntax, you're going to impress the AP reader.